So President Biden has proposed nearly a double increase in capital gains tax. So what does this mean for the market, both short-term and long-term? Well, in today's video, we're going to get into that. Today was a beautiful morning, so I just wanted to bring you guys along as I went for my morning coffee, but let's go ahead and jump into the video. All right. So Biden's plan, called the American Families Plan, is favoring multiple new efforts. It's favoring extended paid family leave, high-quality child education, free community college, and the cost of this would be around $1.5 trillion. Now, how will this be paid for? Taxes. Our current tax rate on long-term capital gains is around 20%. Biden's proposal would roll this back to nearly 39.6, or almost double. This is on top of a 3.8 investment surtax on higher income investors, bringing it to around 43.4% for anyone making over $1 million. Now keep in mind, outside of large hedge funds and company ownings, the top 1% own more than half of the individually owned stocks. So around Thursday, when there were talks about this, the market really didn't like it and initially reeled, but then it recovered quickly. Now, I don't make $1 million a year, so this tax won't affect me, and Biden has also agreed to not increasing the taxes on those that earn less than $400,000 a year. But it goes without saying that this can affect the wealthy who might want to take their money out of stocks and reinvest it into something safer for the long term to avoid this tax. Speaking of reinvesting, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe for the YouTube algorithm. It really helps my channel to grow. By liking and commenting, it shows YouTube that this channel produces good content and allows me to grow, so really appreciate it. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Now, according to CNBC, the group affected by this tax makes around half of their income from capital gains. So if the tax does pass, it can cause the wealthy to sell off their stock because they want to lock in their profits at a 20% tax rate versus this new nearly 40% tax rate. Now 40% sounds high, but remember there's also state tax. It's estimated that someone in California, between state and federal tax with this new tax bill, will be paying close to 57% if they're making over $1 million. Now take that same person from California and put them in New York, and they'll be paying closer to 60% on taxes. Capital gains also affects real estate. The good news is that for the majority of people, if you own a house, and let's say you live there with your husband or wife, and you've been living there for 2 years, it's your primary residence, you can avoid paying up to $500,000 in capital gains tax. But wealthy people who have multiple estates, when it's time for them to sell, they're going to be hit with this newer tax rate if it does pass. So imagine buying a house for $1 million and then selling it for $1.5 million and getting taxed 60% on that $500,000 gain. Ouch. Now remember, Biden also proposed a $2.3 trillion infrastructure plan, which he announced on March 31st. This will likely be paid by corporate taxes rising from 21% to 28%. So these are two different increases in taxes, but now the former plan that we talked about, remember, this is just a proposal, meaning it still needs to pass in Congress. So Joe Biden is set to speak on his plan in a couple of weeks. So remember, Congress is composed of the House of Representatives, which are 435 elected members from all 50 states, based on the size of population, and the Senate, made of 100 senators, 2 from each state, who will vote on this bill. If either the Senate or the House of Representatives disagrees on the bill, they'll need to tweak it until there's a consensus. And they could also reject it. Biden would need a majority vote from both the House of Representatives and the Senate in order to pass it. It may pass in the House of Representatives since blue states tend to have the largest population, but the Senate provides equal representation across all states and may lead to a rejection. So there's multiple situations that could occur. This means that in the short term, the market still might sell off, but it should be okay until the end of the year, where then millionaires might start taking profits on stocks. They might also sell more real estate and crypto around the final 2-3 months of the year. Is that guaranteed? No. Then once the new year starts, there might be less selling. Why would you want to sell stock or housing or crypto in the new year if you're going to be taxed at nearly 60% for some people? The time to sell was before the year started and before the new tax. So all in all, expect some choppiness. I think Joe Biden is speaking on this in a couple of weeks, so if it does pass in the next couple of weeks, then the market might drop again. I think from there on, after his speech, it should pick a trend after that short-term choppiness. The real deciding factor for me is that if it does pass again, I'm curious to see how the final months of the year will play out. Because as I mentioned, people might want to start taking their profit. Because, if these millionaires are seeing their stocks dropping and all of a sudden they have to realize that, okay, I'm losing my gains here, and then if I wait till next year and then I sell, I'm going to be taxed at a much higher tax rate. They might just decide to sell out and take it at a lower tax rate. So this could be really interesting near the end of the year, and this might be a good opportunity to play some puts near the end of the year. But again, we're using charts to make those decisions. Don't just make it blindly. But yeah, stay tuned for Joe Biden's speech, and I'll try to provide an update after his speech to see how that affects the market and what's going on. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm really looking forward to growing my channel more. So again, if you could leave a like, if you haven't done so already, please do. It really does help. I'm trying to upload weekly now, as you guys have probably seen. So the increased support is really motivating me to keep on pushing forward and learning more and providing more content. This video was also sponsored by Rocket Option U, a full-fledged course I designed that allows you to fully understand how options work and strategies for trading them. I'm offering 10% off for the first 200 students using the code SteveTrades, details in the description. And I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on Biden's new tax proposal, both for the short term and long term. Thanks for watching, and as always, keep on making great trades.